Welcome to the Kellyanne Cares podcast, a one-of-a-kind show created to become your number one tool for your personal growth and business development. My name is Kelly, former pro makeup artist and luxury travel expert turned multi-passionate entrepreneur. My purpose is to get you organized to become the most productive version of yourself in both business and life. I'm here to show you that if you manifest, visualize, and put in the work, your dreams will indeed turn into a reality. Tune in to hear raw, unfiltered conversations from myself as well as my expert guests as we discuss our wins and losses, habits and routines, and what keeps us motivated, stimulated, and inspired. I promise to add value, raise awareness, help you take action, and incorporate more wellness into your day. Life is short. Invest in yourself. Make your own rules. Create your own happiness. And most importantly, enjoy the ride. Buckle up. Today's podcast experience starts now. Hello. Welcome back to a brand new episode. We are 7 years strong, my friends. I'm so excited. If you haven't listened to the 7th year anniversary episode, tune back to that. But I am finally coming out of like a year-long depression. And I've shared a lot about this on previous episodes, but haven't really talked about it like online as much. And I just finally am starting to feel like myself. And a big part of that, I think that has been a big help to having my head feel better, is how I'm eating. So I am down almost 5 pounds this week by just eating like a shit ton of protein and doing walks. And I haven't even worked out as much as I wanted to, but just changing my diet. Excuse me, let me have a little sip of my frankincense resin water. That's not an ad, by the way. That's a real thing that I got from Dubai and I'm obsessed with. So long story short, I'm back. This episode is going to be jam-packed, full of everything you need to know to launch a podcast. I have been hosting, writing, producing, and developing shows. I think I'm at 31 shows now over the past 7 years. It's completely changed my life. But I think what holds so many people back is that they don't have the money. They don't know how to do it. They're scared. Just get your shit together and just fucking do it. I'm here to be your biggest cheerleader. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I have so many episodes to talk about, like my first, just go listen to episode 1 through 100 probably. Like, I don't even know. They're like, the audio's awful. I was uploading like video files. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I just fucking started. And if you are that passionate about sharing your story and helping others and creating a different platform for yourself, you just need to start. I write about this in my book. Okay, circling back to my frankincense resin water and my mental health, I'm going to do another episode on what I'm doing to lose weight, on my meals, what I'm eating. I'm posting a lot more on Instagram with my specific recipes, and I'm focusing on like 100 grams of protein a day, but I'm going to do a whole show on this. So I don't really want to talk about a lot of it here now. I just wanted to share with you, like, you can always hear in my voice when I'm going through something. Like today, I feel good. And it's honestly like the first time in like a year. I don't know if it's the new full moon that's coming or like, again, what I said earlier, like what I'm eating. I don't know. I just know that I feel like myself. I feel better. I am back. And I am here to share my story as well as my purpose. And that is to help you get to where you want to be. So this episode is all about podcasting, which, by the way, I have so many other episodes about how to launch a podcast, how to market a podcast, how to monetize a podcast. Like, you can basically go to kellyannecares.com and go to a free podcast school. But that involves a lot of time, and I am always here to save you time, money, and energy. So I'm going to go down the list of the 2 pages of notes I just created this morning for all of my new friends, specifically on Threads, because so many people are asking me about podcasting on Threads. So I'm like, I'm just going to do an unplanned, unscripted episode about how you need to start. Now, you're going to need a visual of some things like production, which if you want one, we can hop on a FaceTime and make that happen. It's very simple. Please don't let it overwhelm you and let it hold you back from sharing your story, because there are millions of people in the world that would like to have a podcast that don't start because they're not ready. I wasn't ready. I'm a prime example. I say this all the time. Just fucking start. So I'm going to start with my notes and share them with you now. Are you ready? Okay, how to launch a podcast in 2024. The simplest Cliff Notes version. This water is like giving me energy, by the way, this frankincense. It's my second time having it. It's different. Okay, so I always send my clients a Word doc and I put 5 W questions. Who, what, where, why, when. So this is what you need to journal out. You're going to do a lot of brain dumps, okay? All the research, all the brain dumps, this is what's going to take you the most time. Who is this show for? Who is your ideal audience? Like, who are you talking to? When I first started, it was all about business, LinkedIn, and life with an autoimmune disease. Everything I do is not the norm. So I'm talking to business owners, entrepreneurs, people that want to learn more about LinkedIn. And this is back in 2017 when I started coaching on there. And life with an autoimmune disease, because if you're new here, I launched my show because I was told I had a disease that was going to leave me blind and paralyzed. So at the end of the day, I would only have my voice to make me money. That's why I started. I just started. I didn't know what I was doing. And cut to, I was misdiagnosed, became an overnight attorney, and blah, blah, blah. You can hear all those episodes. Anyway, that's who my show is for. People that needed to hear others struggling with autoimmune diseases, needed to hear stories. I also included medical professionals, professional patients like myself. And what I was talking about is business, LinkedIn, and life with an autoimmune disease. My life. I was sharing it all. And where people could tune in and where your listeners are going to want to tune in is what you need to focus on. So I use a hosting platform, and I've been using them for all the 30 shows I've developed. It's called Blubrry, Blubrry. Now, I just want to share with you right now that every single thing I mention is going to be in the show notes. So don't think you have to take all these notes like for this part. I put everything in my show notes so that you could always circle back. You can click those links. You could take advantage of all my free codes. I'm an affiliate for so many companies that I absolutely love. So just make sure you look at the show notes when you're done listening to me ramble, because everything will be there, listed out, exactly what you need. It's going to be there. Now, the next question you want to ask yourself is, why do you want to have a show? What is so important? What is a story that you want to share? Is it about manifesting? Is it about business? Is it about mental health? Is it about true crime? Is it about your obsession with Bravo, like me? Is it about health and wellness? Like, why are you going to have this show? Like, share your true passion and purpose, because that's what your listeners are going to relate to. Now, the last question, who, what, where, why, when? Last question is when. When can people listen? A lot of people ask me this question all the time, like, what day should I launch my show? I believe that it doesn't fucking matter. If somebody wants to see your Instagram reels, your TikToks, your YouTube videos, your listen to your podcast, they're coming to you when the next one's available. They don't care what day. So I don't care what day. I don't care what time I post. I don't care what time I upload shows. I have like a daily schedule I try to stick to in my color-coded planner. If you've yet to see that, it's on like all of my social media channels, and the wall I'm staring at, which is my year to glance. That's just how I organize my brain, because chemo brain is real. And even though years later, like, I still see everything in color coded systems, because that's what I created to help me remember back then. And I just still do that to this day. Some call it OCD, some call it, I don't know. My friends think it's crazy, but that's just, and some of my friends do it themselves now. So it's very different, and that's just how I roll. Anyway, so when your listeners can listen is when you share your episode. I don't think an episode matters what day it's posted. That's just my 2 cents. Now, before I dive into any other information, I need you to understand this one thing that I've said from the very beginning day I launched my show. And then when I started getting podcast clients after that, what I've preached to them. Why can't I speak? What I've always said is that there are no rules in podcasting. You can be as creative and as structured as possible. Throw all the rules out the window. You are here on this planet for a reason. If you have a burning desire, if something's happened to you, if you need something to happen to you, if you want to share a story, you have a business, you want to grow it, you want to monetize it, you want to market it, you want to share your story, your strengths, and your struggles with the universe, the world, you just need to do it. There's no rules. Share it however you feel most comfortable. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I develop podcasts for a living. So what I do with those shows and what you're going to do with all these notes right now is very different, because you're not doing a lot of like technical aspects to it. I just want to give you the basics so that you can just start your damn show. Stop holding back. I've seen so many people on Threads asking this question, and they're like, it's 4 years later, I'm finally posting. And I'm like, what the fuck? In 4 years, I had I had 2 diseases, was on 13 prescription medications, was on chemotherapy, overdosed with chemotherapy, became a medical malpractice attorney, sat as my own attorney for 6 different med mal cases, and then found, because I was misdiagnosed, and then closed them in 18 months in the middle of the pandemic. That was 4 years. What are you doing in 4 years that you can't launch a fucking podcast that's going to make you happy? What are you doing? There's no time. If you are a mom and have multiple children or 1 children, or you want to be a mom, or you're struggling in some part of your life, if you want to make something happen, you get up earlier, because that allows you more time. I hate wasting time, I hate wasting money, and I hate wasting energy. And if I wake up earlier, I'm like 1 step ahead of the game. When I create my planner and schedule everything for the next week on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, when I wake up Monday morning, everything's good to go, right? Stop making excuses. If you get my book, Everything is Messy, again, it will be in the show notes. I'm writing the second version of that right now. I'm almost done. It's taken me so much longer because I was battling with this anxiety and depression for much longer than I had ever anticipated. But again, I'm going to share more on that on another show, probably the next episode. But it's just so important that you understand that you're here for a reason. And if you have this fire and this passion and this feeling in your gut, I want a podcast. I just want to share this with the world. Fucking do it. And the people that are going to hold you back are the people around you. Everyone always says, and I've been online for 2 decades now, my life is on the internet, the closest people and the ones that are going to support you are people that you've never met. Some of my closest friends still have not read my book front to back. Can you believe that? I was so pissed for years, but now I'm like, well, you didn't read it. So you're going to have to wait for the audio version, which is going to take forever because it's so much harder to record an audiobook than a podcast, because you have to read verbatim. And I actually had to go to a vocal coach because what happened to I pulled muscles in my vocal cords, something, because I just overdid it. And that was again during the pandemic. So that was just a shit show anyway. But going back to you launching your podcast, you just need to do it. And if you need a positive environment of uplifting podcasters, I have the hiccups now. You need to go on Threads and join podcast threads and just see what everybody is saying there. Why do I have the hiccups? Because I'm talking so fast. Please hold. Oh, that frankincense resin is kicking in. Okay, so just know that I'm always here to support you, and that other people that you're never going to meet in life will always be your biggest cheerleaders, especially in the podcasting community, rather than the ones surrounding you. It's weird. It's strange. It might not happen to you, but it's very, very common. So don't let that hold you back. It is your time to shine. You are listening to this episode for a reason, and the time for you to launch a show is now. So, going after your creative and structured goals that you're going to have for this show, you then need to figure out Are you going to have a solo show, or do you want to have guests, or do you want to have both? So you're going to want to brain dump topics. And by brain dump, just journal that shit out. Journal all that shit out. What do you want to talk about? What experts do you want to have on? What types of people? Maybe what types of guests from different countries? Like, depending on what your show is about, right? You need to just do a brain dump of like any topics, anything that's on your mind, and then map it out. So figure out, like, do I want to do a series? Do I want to have guests? Do I want to be solo? Like, you can piggyback. You can go back and forth. But my best advice for you is, if you're going to do all of these things, which I have on my show, is keep it organized. So I have many series, limited series, that are on this show, maybe 10. And if you go to my site and you type it in, all of them will pop up for you. That's why you need a website for your show. None of these like rinky-dink things that are like, my show lives here. You need a fucking website, a real website. And I know that may scare you. And you're like, I thought I just wanted a podcast. This is already going to be included with the show. I'm giving you the simplest Cliff Notes version of how you can get your show to happen, like, as soon as possible, okay? I'm not going to give you super complicated tips and tricks and strategies. Like, I'm just giving you everything that I know in my experience in the last 7 years that fucking works. Your content is more important than the production. So everybody wants to have video podcasts now. Podcasts are audio. Now everybody's bringing in the cameras and filming and everything since the pandemics and Zoom and all of that, because there's so much more ways that you can monetize with that. But podcasts started off as audio, and they still are audio. So if you're feeling the pressure of doing video, like sometimes I am every now and then, it's fine. A podcast is audio. You want to film it as well? That's great, but it's also double the work. So I'm just letting you know that now. But going back to your brain dumps and when it's time to record, that's coming next. But after your brain dumps, you want to figure out a name. Now, there's a couple tools I use for this. ChatGPT, answerthepublic.com. Actually, let me just write something down before I forget to put it in the show notes. Do you hear my pencil? I only use Blackwing pencils. They have a brand new collection out, the Eras Tour. I need to get it immediately. I am an affiliate for Blackwing. They are the pencils I use to write all of my books and design all of my coloring books, and I'm obsessed. And the reason why I love them is because, can you hear this? They all have Japanese graphite in them, and each one is a different lead, which allows you to write in a different way. And yes, this is an ad. I'm obsessed with them. So if you are somebody that loves a good pencil, loves a good collection, eraser, sharpener, listen to this sharpener. Amazing. I hope that you can hear that. I did it so close to my mic. They're incredible. Check out blackwing602.com. Again, the link will be in the show notes. And yes, that's an ad. This is another way to monetize your show, which I'm going to get into the marketing and monetizing at the end. But I just wanted to do that specifically to show you that you don't need to ad read. You can just throw in an ad like that. Now, ads are what help you keep going with the money, with making a profit from your show, which again will come next. But after your brain dumps and your topics and your experts and your guests and all of this is figured out, you want to figure out your name, like I just said. So ChatGPT helps, your friends and family help, your friends on the internet help, polls help if you already have an audience, newsletter polls help if you already have an audience, ask your friends online. But you want to, as soon as you find out that name, buythat.com. You can go on GoDaddy. Again, all these links will be in the show notes because I'm an affiliate. Go on GoDaddy.com or wherever you buy your .coms and buy it immediately. And if it's not available, which most of the time, like if it's pretty common, it's not going to be available. Add podcast to the end of it. So say, for example, like my publishing company, AMillionDreamsPublishing.com. Like I already own that. So if you wanted that, it's not available. So you could put AMillionDreamsPublishingPodcast.com. add podcast at the end, because you always want to have a .com that you can pronounce and continuously say when you're sharing and talking about your show. So I say kellyannecares.com, milliondreamspublishing.com, everythingismessy.com, like whatever you say, like it needs to be verbal so that people can go, and then always the links will be like in your show notes, right? So make sure once you start your who, what, where, why, when, do your creative and structured show notes, brain dumps, like all of that, figure out your name, buy your .com. Guess what time it is? It's time to record. And you want to record on your iPhone because that's how easy it is. Do you want to buy a microphone, a camera? You want to film it? You can absolutely do all of this. 100%. You can go to my Amazon store and see all of the products that I have personally bought. For the last 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, I don't even know, years. And since when I started, to be honest, I record on my iPhone. If you know how to put audio files together and produce, you're good to go. That's when the visual training of mine comes in, which is like not really that tricky. It's literally just a FaceTime call. I can show you how, like the visual aspect, but don't let that, again, stop you from launching your podcast, okay? Because you can start making money from the day you launch your show. I promise you this. So once you are ready to record, you turn that phone on airplane mode so there's no interruptions, and you hit record. I specifically turn my volume 3/4 of the way down because I'm very loud and I move around and it doesn't like echo or anything. And I record. When I'm done with that recording, I upload it to a Google Drive, which I then save to my desktop because it needs to be converted to an audio file. Because when you record on voice memos, it's an MP4 file, which basically is like a video file. And you need it to be an audio file in order to produce it in the software I use, Audacity, which is free. There's not a big investment in... Sorry, my nose is so itchy. There's not a big investment in you launching a podcast the way that I'm sharing with you right now. Like less than $100. Less than $50 actually, because you're going to record for free. You buy your .com, that could actually be like $1 or $12 if you don't have an account with GoDaddy. But usually, if you already have some .coms, they're like $18, so that's under $20. Okay, if you sign up to use Blueberry, which I highly recommend, the first month is free, but I pay $20 a month after that, and you just keep on going. The rest is free. Like if you have Canva, that's free. ChatGPT is free. You can start making money to override these costs, which is, again, less than $50 just for you to start your show. This is why I'm telling you, like, you have to do it. So once you get your files on your desktop, it's time to convert them. So there's websites that do this, but some of them look a little scammy. I have software. I have a PC. So the one I use, I think it's literally called MP4 to MP3 converter. It's an app. And you can just search for them. And there's a few. And I've used the same one for like years. I pay $4 a month for it. But you can do it for free online. You literally just Google MP4 to MP3 file and it will convert. So it's going to change the file for you. The MP3 file is what you need to put together with your intro and outro, which I've yet to talk about, which I'm going to talk about next. But the audio production is where like a visual needs to come in. And I have a couple videos of that on my TikTok that I've done like years ago, but I don't have one current with like the updated software. So if you want a visual, just message me and we can hop on a FaceTime and we can definitely go through that, if that's the only thing that's holding you back. But when you are ready to record, that usually comes like at the same time or before. It really depends. Like I've had some clients that I've written their intro, their outro, their official show description after they started recording because they just wanted to jump on a mic and just start recording. And then I've done it before. So it's really up to you. So basically, when in the beginning of the show, when I said your 5 questions, like who, what, where, why, when When you start writing that out, that basically becomes your official show description. And then from the show description becomes your intro and outro. So basically the top half is like your introduction, welcoming your guests. Your outro is the bottom half, which you always want to drive traffic to your site and have call to actions like go here, come to my website, tune in next episode, yada, yada, yada. So the script can be short and sweet, or it can be a paragraph. Again, there are no rules. Do you need to have an intro in the beginning of every single show? That's completely up to you. I'm actually, excuse me, losing my voice. No, I'm actually in the works of creating something specifically for stay-at-home moms that want to have a podcast, because I watch my friend's toddler son 3 days a week. And so I understand what you go through now. Trying to get shit done. Let's just leave it at that. So one day, probably when there was another full moon, I was just thinking about, oh my God, if you just have a window when there's like a 20-minute nap and you just need a show and you just need to upload it. So anyway, that's how that all happened. I can't really tell you like what's happening with the project, but just know it's like in the works, because it's a fucking genius idea and nobody's even thought about it yet, which is like mind blowing. I've only told like 2 people. Three people know about it. So where am I at? Okay, so the intro and the outro usually have music, right? I get all of my non-copyrighted music from YouTube creators. Again, the link will be in the show notes. And you can search for like moods. So if you want like inspiring, motivating, serious, drama, like you literally just put that in the search and you'll get like thousands of tracks. I always credit my creators for every show I've developed because it's free. You can also pay like $50, $60 for a music track, but like, why would you do that? Like, go to YouTube creators, support another creator, and it's free. Give them credit and like be on your way. That to me takes the longest time because I go down like this production rabbit hole. I start listening to like movie scores. Like I picture myself like, I don't know. I just go down a deep dark hole of like movie productions, music, like all the things. So for me, that's like the hardest. So you want to put your words to music. Do you have to? No. Do you need an intro? No. But people are going to need to know like what the hell your show is about. So if you want to just skip the whole intro outro, just do a trailer. And then you can have your trailer sit on the top of your episode so people always know what it's about. And then when they tune in every week or every month, whenever you air your episodes, they'll just listen to you straight off, like talk about the episode, what it's about. So that's totally up to you. But when you add the music to the recording and all of that, you're going to do the same thing, just like your show. You're going to need a visual for that. So I can't really like explain that right now to you. I need to give you a visual. So again, like FaceTime calls is where it's at for me. So we can literally hop on a call. I can show you how to do it in less than an hour. It's that easy. But that's honestly it for the show part. And let me just go over my notes because I did write 2 pages of notes because I like to be super organized. Okay, so that's it for the show. All right. Now, once you have the show recorded, whether or not you have intro and outro files, you need to write show notes. So there's software that does this for you. There's AI tools that do this for you, but I'm a professional writer. I write for a living. So I write my own show notes. I write my clients' show notes. Like that's actually me writing. At the end, you always want to have call to actions. For example, I keep saying, go to my show notes to see all the links. So that's a call to action. So go there and look at all the links so that you can take advantage of all the free stuff I have for you so that when you want to launch your podcast, it's not going to cost you a ton of money because you're saving using my affiliate links. See what I'm saying? You need to do the same thing. So your calls to action can be like, follow me on Instagram, join my newsletter, find me on Substack, put your link tree if all your stuff is there. Make things simple for people. You have to think not everybody understands what you're saying. So you need to have it as basic and as simple as possible so that people can just go directly and click the link. That's it. Like, it's so crazy, right? Because on Instagram, everybody is promoting ManyChat and all these things. Like, why have people click the link in your bio and they can send you a message? It's the same fucking click. Like, and I've been targeting ads. Like, I've been doing all of it. And I'm like, it's the same thing. You're going to either get a DM or you're going to click the link in the bio. Like, just choose one. So, like, that to me doesn't make sense. But, like, I don't know. Maybe it makes sense to you. But you just got to keep it simple so that it's literally like, what's the word I'm looking for? I used to say this in a really not so nice way. But anyway, just keep it super simple. Let's just leave it at that. So you're going to have your show notes and then you're going to have your show. Now, where is that going to go? It's going to go onto Blueberry. And Blueberry offers a WordPress website. So you're going to upload that bad boy just like a blog post. Now, if you don't know how to upload a blog post, it's really simple. Why do I have the hiccups again? Maybe I just inhaled my popcorn way too fast. Which, by the way, I just posted a new recipe for my homemade popcorn on my Instagram. You're definitely going to have to check it out with all my little Trader Joe's favorite tools and products because it's my new, like, I've gone from like soy sauce to buffalo sauce to now balsamic and dill. Oh my God, it was so good. I've been cooking so many new recipes lately just because it's great for my mental health. And like I said earlier, I'm on this like huge protein kick. Anyway, so Blueberry offers a website, all the tools you need, the stats, the descriptions, like everything under the sun, Blueberry has to offer. And if you go to their YouTube channel, you can literally learn everything from them. I also have a bunch on mine, but it's their software. So like you could just plug in information that you want to know and then they'll tell you right away on their YouTube channel, like search for that information. But it's honestly so simple. And again, if we just hop on like a FaceTime or a Zoom, like I can show you, like it's not difficult. But if you are familiar with websites and blogs, it's the same. You're just, instead of writing a blog post by itself, your show notes essentially become the blog post and you attach the audio file and that becomes your show. And on the back end, which is all the technical that you're going to need a visual for, you need to syndicate that. And by syndicate, I mean send it to Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Why am I drawing a blank? My show is like on every single platform. Wherever you listen to podcasts and YouTube, that's where it needs to be. It's not going to send it to YouTube. I have other tools that send it there, which I'll share with you in a sec, but it syndicates it to every single podcast platform. So that on the back end, all like the technical stuff you're going to need to set up. And again, you can learn from Blueberry to do that. It's really not that difficult because they're going to just teach you. And then again, I can teach you on like a 1 hour call. It's like, just choose. That's the only other part that's going to be like technical and that you're going to need a visual is setting up the back end of your site and then also production. But the production does not need to scare you. Like it's just literally putting your files together if you're not going to edit the actual show. That is like more advanced, right? If you just want to have your show on the air, your message heard, share what's in your brain and on your heart with everyone so they can tune in. Like this is how you're going to do it. I'm giving you like the simplest version of how to get started today. Now, when you do upload the show and the show notes and all of that, you have to have graphics. So I would just highly suggest using Canva because it's free. I have the pro account, which is $15 a month. I think I even have a code to get a month off free, but you don't need the pro account. You can have a free account. You can invest money in it with a designer on Fiverr. I've hired teams of the most creative individuals on Fiverr. I have a code for that too. My team for my first book that came out, I had a team of 11 because I'm super picky and I wanted everybody to have just like one little project so that everything could be like perfect because that's just how I roll. That's obviously not normal. But then with my coloring book company, I did the same. And I never have writers. I always do writers. It's more design. I'm not good at design. So you always need to just outsource where you're not good at. Because I would spend like 6 hours on something that would take my designer friends like 15 minutes. And vice versa. Like they can't write for shit. And I'll bang out like the best show notes for them like so quickly. Like it's just, you gotta spend time on what you're good at and what you're not. Outsource that shit. And Fiverr is super inexpensive. I don't know what my code is, but again, everything I'm talking about, just look at the show notes. So once your show is live, then you can share it with the world. And now here's where you can market and monetize it. This is the most questions I get. So let me just finalize the graphics. Sorry. I hope this is not confusing for you because I'm talking really fast and I'm trying to give you everything you can possibly need. And everything, again, will be listed in the show notes. So like, you don't need to write any of that down. It's just like, I'm giving you basics. Like, just get the show launched. We can perfect it later. You can, but it doesn't even have to be perfect because there's no rules. So just keep it how it is if that is what aligns with you the most. So when you are writing your scripts and you're designing your graphics and recording your shows, like you always want to keep that listener in mind. Like, what are they searching for? What do they want to hear from next? Or who do they want to hear from next? So I always have like a running list of notes. I live in the notes app in my phone of topics that I want to talk to, people I want to talk to. Like right now I'm at 300 something pitches of people that have wanted to come on the show, and half are like AI generated tools and they don't even put my name on my email. So I don't even ever respond. And then they send 4 follow-up emails because I don't respond. So don't ever be that person. It's just so unprofessional. So I just don't even waste my time to respond anymore. I did years ago, but I haven't had guests on my show in 2 years. So why do you keep pitching me guests? You really have not heard my show. And that's what drives me like crazy the most, is that when people don't give a shit. Like, I give a shit about everything I create, but I understand like not everybody's like that. They're just doing their job. That's fine. But yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I'm like, at least when you use the AI tools and you pull the information from my last episode and podcast description, I have this thing where I love everything in caps. It drives some of my friends nuts. I love caps. So they'll put, hey, space, comma. So there was a space down my name, but they didn't have the name, comma. Then they're like, we listened to so-and-so, da-da-da-da. And half of that email is in caps because they're pulling from the subtitle, the show notes, like literally everything that this tool is generating. And then the rest is like normally written. And I'm like, this is such bullshit. Like, what happened to like real human connections? So I want to talk about that a little bit more when I share with you how to monetize your show, because people are people. They have human feelings. Like, yes, it makes sense to invest in all these tools, but like make them work and make them make sense, and make them not make other people feel like shit when you're pitching them, because it's just so unprofessional. Don't be that person. I even looked up somebody on LinkedIn the other day who actually sent me one because I was just curious. And like, oh my God, this is just so ridiculous. I'm like, you've been at this company for 6 years and this is how you do business? It was insane. It was for a brand that was pitching me some kind of podcast tool. I don't know. There's something for everybody now in the podcasting world. But once you have your graphics and your show is ready and you are launched and you are live, some of the questions that people ask me about like your launch strategy, and honestly, you could just launch and say surprise. If you want to really market the shit out of it, I would say 2 weeks prior. I would say share it with your audience online if you have them, with your newsletter, with your LinkedIn, like literally everything. I have a whole marketing plan for this. But you can just one day wake up, post on your Instagram, be like, surprise, I have a podcast. And honestly, so many business coaches, it's honestly getting exhausting right now for their secret podcast. Like, it's just a fucking podcast. You're collecting emails. It's now everybody has a secret podcast or a private podcast. There are more ways to monetize. That's all it is. It's the same thing. So if you are like a faceless marketer and you wanted to have one of those podcasts, that's great. Nobody would even know who you are. Like, you could have a pen name like my coloring books. You can have, like there's so many opportunities to monetize a podcast. But it's just getting overly saturated. Like, everybody and their mother is a podcast coach now, which is fine. Everybody and their mother is a LinkedIn coach, a LinkedIn strategist, and that's fine. There's room for all of us. I do business a very different way. I coach my clients. I write books. I do everything I touch is very different. And it's not the norm. I swear, I work fast. I talk a mile a minute. Like, some people aren't into that vibe, and that's completely fine. And that's where talking to your audience and talking to the people that sign up for your newsletter, or maybe subscribe to your private podcast, or, you know, your private community that you monetize. Like, you just need to always pay attention to, like, who you're talking to and how you're talking, and like all of that makes sense and makes a big difference. Because if these brands were to reach out and put my name and be more personable, even if you're using generated tool, like AI generated tools, just add a couple like real life sentences in there. Just one sentence. I might have answered that email. But instead, you've now sent me 4 and you're never going to get a response. Never. Don't waste my time, money, and energy. Period. Point blank. That's just me. That's just how I roll. That's just how I've always done business. Like, the LinkedIn ads and the LinkedIn messages I get, because I'm very active on LinkedIn. I have been since, honestly, 2012. And it is the number one tool for growth for podcasts, for my specific show, my books, my brand. The biggest deals of my career have come from literally a DM on LinkedIn. It's absolutely insane. Again, not the norm, but like, these things can happen. And it's because I'm myself. You have to be yourself. You don't want to sugarcoat things. You don't want, if you can't be if you cannot be yourself, why the fuck are you going to have a podcast? Like, people will hear you. Like, I've cried my eyes out, I'm always swearing, I'm always crying, I'm always emotional. Like, I'm real. If I had like a fake voice, like, you would know, because you're always listening to the show. Like, you would know. I've literally had people text me on the hotline number saying, "Are you okay?" And I've come and shown up when I had like walking pneumonia, bronchitis. Like, those are so, like, I would never listen back to those shows. And I'm so sorry for those of you who have listened to those shows, because my voice was so shot, but I was like, I just want to show up for you. I'm leaning on a table. That's the noise you're hearing. But it's just insane, like, how fake people can be. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, like, online and on podcasts. Like, it's just, if you want to make money from your show, you make money from your show. Just tell people, like, I'm here telling you how to launch a podcast and how to make money from it while I'm making money from it. This is how it's done. Like, it's so simple, but it's real. Like, I'm being myself, and I'm literally sharing with you, like, the pencil I'm fucking writing with, because I've been writing with these forever. I write about the pencil in my damn book. Like, it's not like they're paying me $100 for every pencil I sell. No, it's like, I fucking love them. Like, that's why I want to share it with you. So anyway, why am I getting so worked up about pencils? What is it, this frankincense water? Okay, anyway, let's market your podcast now, shall we? Okay, marketing. This is how I market my show. Monday through Sunday on my planner, I have scheduled what episode I'm sharing. How do I do that? It's either with the Headliner video app, it's with my private community on Substack, it's with my MailChimp newsletter friends, my friends who have signed up for my LinkedIn newsletter, my personal newsletters, and repurpose.io. This tool is a game changer. And yes, I'm an affiliate. And yes, this is an ad. Because this tool, the first 2 weeks are free for you with my code. I think it's Everything is Messy. Again, in the show notes. Repurpose.io will take all of your content. So your podcast will now be on YouTube. YouTube is prioritizing podcast. Do you want to start a YouTube channel and upload shows and do video and all that? Do you have time for that? I know I don't. All 300, almost 400 episodes are on my YouTube channel, and people listen every single day. It's not my face. It's just the screensaver is my graphics, and the show audio is there. Some people just like to listen to it there. I'm a Spotify girl through and through, but some people prefer YouTube, and you need to have your podcast on YouTube. Like today, if you're already a podcaster and it's not there, you're seriously missing out, especially on revenue. So repurpose.io will do that. repurpose.io takes here's my funnel. I post a reel. My reel then goes to TikTok. My TikTok then goes to Facebook Reels and then also to YouTube Shorts, and my Instagram Reels go to Pinterest. So when you're looking at my content, you're like, oh my God, you're literally everywhere. No, I'm not. I post one video and it goes everywhere for me in the funnel that I've specifically created. TikTok used to be my number one, but now I'm an Instagram girly again because that shit's going to go away and I just don't have time to like rebuild. But if that did happen and I lose my content, I actually wouldn't, because repurpose.io allows you to save all of your videos on a Google Drive. So I actually pay like $2 a month for additional storage on my drive, because every single thing on my phone that's edited and produced and put on the internet then gets saved around into my Google Drive. Do you see what I'm saying? Is this like confusing? I feel like it's like a lot. But if I drew on a Post-it note right now, my funnel, you'd be like, oh my God, that's so easy. Like it literally takes 2 seconds to set up, and my code will give you 2 weeks free. I pay $20 a month. All of my clients pay $20 a month. It's like having a free virtual assistant, and it takes all the watermarks off, keeps the music. You can lower the music. You can add captions like on the back end when you're setting it all up, and you don't have to have a funnel. You can just put one thing somewhere. I have all of my social media channels connected to it for a reason, because I try to monetize it all. So with your podcast, you are definitely going to want to invest in repurpose.io. $20 a month. Like you cannot go wrong. I've been using it. I think I'm on like almost year 4. I feel like I started using it during the pandemic, and the company is so awesome. Like they've sent me so much merch. It's so nice. Like I have hoodies, I have coffee mugs, I have pens. Like they always answer any question that you have. They're always on their chat. But if you have a podcast and you need to repurpose it, repurpose.io will do that for you. When you're marketing, you want to use apps that make it simple. You add in your graphics, it pulls the feed from your podcast. You could, excuse me, I have hiccups again, pull which audio section from the show you want to promote and send that everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest. You want to focus on SEO, which is TikTok, YouTube, and Pinterest. So that's why I keep saying that. TikTok isn't my number one anymore. And honestly, it's still so hard because I use CapCut and that's affiliated with TikTok. So I always like, depending on what video I'm producing, like I need to send it to TikTok, but now I can save it because of that feature. It's like a whole system, like a whole situation that I have to do, because I'm no longer on TikTok. Well, I am. I post like some videos, but I'm on Instagram like full time now rather than like anywhere else. And then in the new year, I'm going to be on YouTube a hell of a lot more, because I will hopefully have my new studio space then, and everything that I'm manifesting and visualizing will be available to me. So that's a 2025 project. Also, how the fuck is it almost 2025? Okay. So that's how you're going to market. Now, when you monetize, let me just say one more thing about marketing. You've got to have a schedule. Like I said with my OCD color-coded planner, like Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like I'm reposting an episode every single day to all of my channels. And they're always like in rotation, like different ones. Or I see like which one people haven't, like which show hasn't really been heard that much lately. Or I have a podcast series. I have a LinkedIn series. I have an entrepreneur series, a mental health series. Like, let me push out that series today for Mental Health Monday. Like, again, no rules in podcasting. Be as creative or structured as you want. It's honestly up to you. So now going into monetization, there are a couple ways that you can make money from your show. One of them is driving traffic to all of the brands that you love. For example, Blackwing Pencils, repurpose.io, everything that I've been talking about on the show, I'm doing for a reason, so you can hear how I say it, how I work it in, how I'm not reading an ad specifically. I'm an affiliate for these brands because I love them. And I have coffee brands I'm an affiliate with. I have mushroom products I'm an affiliate with, like a ton of business tools. Amazon, I'm making money like 4 different ways from them right now. I'm obsessed. If you're interested in learning more about passive income, by the way, message me because it's a game changer. But I'm always driving traffic to the brands that I love. And every month I get paid from them. My own services. So on the website that you're going to create from Blueberry, you can have other pages other than your episodes. So you can have a home page, an about page about the show, your favorite products, brands, or services. Everything can be listed there. So you're constantly driving traffic to your website. So when I say kellyannecares.com, everythingismessy.com, they're all going to the same place, which is actually kellyanngorman.com is my main domain. And that's my entire world. That's where I live on the internet. That is my website. So I have all of my own products, programs, services, my coloring books, my personal growth books, my Amazon store, like discounts on all the brands I love. Like literally everything of my life is on my website. So if you can monetize any of that, you are driving traffic there. If you don't, it's fine, because guess what? I'm sure you used hotels tonight. I'm sure you used Uber. I'm sure you have a subscription service for some health and wellness or beauty, something or other. You can become an affiliate for Amazon tomorrow. All of that will make you money from the very first day that you launch your show, because you're going to talk about it. It's in the show notes. Like I said earlier, link in the show notes. People click, you make money. Boom. Money from your first show. It's literally that simple. Now, when it comes to pitching brands, this goes back to creating relationships. Be human. Be like, I'm obsessed with your product. Slide into their DMs, pitch them on LinkedIn, search for their head of media, head of partnerships, head of marketing, whoever you need to get a hold of. Search for them on LinkedIn, or just DM the brand. Be like, I'm obsessed with your product. I'm always posting about it. Let's collab. Let's do a deal. Can I offer my audience 20% off? Boom, you have a deal. Create an ad. They may give you a script. I personally write my own scripts for the brands based off of what they send me. They approve it, and then I send them a demo using my voice, how I'm going to read it. They approve it, gets put into the show. What I charge for my ads is $400 a commercial. These shows are constantly getting repurposed. So honestly, that's kind of on the low end. But you can also make money from ads from all the platforms that you're on. So that's monthly checks as well. That is a lot harder though, because that goes based off of your downloads, where I just pitch brands and say, I love your product. My audience is going to love it too. This is what I can do for you. It's always about what you can do for them. Not, I'm $400 for an ad and you're going to love it. No, like I want my audience to try Rise Super Coffee because mushrooms are amazing. It's good for your brain and gut. Here's the deal. Like, end of story. Like, that's just a prime example, and one of the brands that I also work with. You can have a paid community. For example, on my Substack, it's a paid community now. It's $8. No, it's not. Sorry, I dropped it. It's $6 a month, and you get extra episodes. You get different newsletters. You get like audio notes from me, and it's like a paid community because I wanted to monetize this show in another way and see how it would work out, because I wanted to try something new. And to be completely honest with you, like I should have been on it a lot more over the last month, but I wasn't pushing out shows. But let me say this, being on Substack, you can also launch a podcast on Substack in a day, and they'll push it out to Apple, Spotify, and a couple of others. But my show gets repurposed there. It's not uploaded there. It's totally different, because the RSS feed is basically like the link to your show. You can't have the same one going different places, if that makes sense. So I've been getting a ton of downloads from Substack because I'm sharing it there over and over and over again. So it's trial and error. It's a new community for me. I've never had a paid community that worked out well. So I'm just trying something new. And I'm being completely honest with you. I'm not going to be like, I have 500 new subscribers. No, I don't. I have like 5 because I haven't really promoted it. So that's something that's new, but it's also something that you can monetize if you want to have like a Patreon or something like that. If you want to do a merch line for your show, which I had a merch line for my book, and when the show is Everything is Messy, I've rebranded the show 3 times. So again, no rules. You got to do what you feel is right and what you think that your audience will enjoy. And then when you get paid to get speaking gigs based off of your podcast or coach other people, or there's just so many ways you can monetize a show. as long as you're creative and you have some kind of structure that works for you personally, you're going to be in pretty good shape. I can tell you that, because I'm on year 7. I preach this to all my clients. Millions and millions of people start podcasts each and every day. Like 10% keep going. I forget the real stat. You can Google it and find out. But like, people are always talking about this. And like, I've stopped my show a couple times for like mental health reasons. And as long as you send a newsletter out to your community, like you share like why you're disappearing, like they'll know. You can't just like disappear. I've just always said that, like, be honest, or if you can't really be honest at the time, just be like, I'm taking a break. See you in a month. Like, then they know, like, oh, this bitch isn't coming back for like a month. You know what I mean? But that right there, I think, ends how you can monetize. Well, it really doesn't end because it's never ending. Podcasts live forever. So I hope that you enjoyed all of this information. I hope it wasn't too confusing. How long have I been talking? Oh my God, an hour. This is a lot longer than I thought. I guess I was just so excited to be back. That's a fact. I am so excited to be back. Now, next episode is going to be all about like mental health, my wellness over 40, all the shit I've been doing. I'm literally staring at everything I ate this week because I have to write it down. It's the only thing that keeps me accountable. I'm just one of those people. But I'm just so excited to be back and to like share all of this with you. And now something very special I want to offer you is half off a coaching and consulting call with me until the end of the month. I'm only doing this until the end of the month. So normally they're $400. So I'm going to give you half off from today until the end of the month. So it's $200, 1 hour. I usually go about like 90 minutes, to be honest with you, obviously, because I thought this was going to be a 20-minute show and we're at like almost an hour. I want to make sure that you have every single thing that you need to launch your podcast. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to be excited. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I just want to be your cheerleader and be like, fucking go, because I'm going to be that girl. So that's what I have to offer for you today. My hotline number, you can text me anytime, will be in the show notes. We can talk more about media kits, how to, approach brands, all the templates I have. If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get a ton of templates. If you purchase my book, Everything is Messy, my personal growth book, you'll get all the bonuses I created that will keep you organized, keep you productive, all the personal growth and goal achieving guides I've created. Like, I have so much shit for you to take advantage of. Half of it's free. The other half you have to invest in a little bit, but you're going to get it back, like your first few episodes. So why not? Like, keep it simple. Get on a 1 hour call, bang it out, get to writing, get to recording, upload your show, and launch that thing. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to keep it real and to share everything that I know with you so that you can have the exact same thing. I never thought that I would be, first of all, back in Las Vegas. Second of all, still podcasting where it all fucking began. Maybe next episode I'll try not to swear. Can you imagine? Anyway, I'm just keeping it real. I hope this episode helped. I hope you understand like how passionate I truly am about all of these things, because there's just so many people posting like 4 years ago I wanted to do this and now today is my day to launch, and like a lot can happen in 24 hours. How you waited 4 years, like I cannot comprehend. I will never be able to comprehend something like that. So if you have a fire in your gut, you have something in your mind, you have this purpose-driven life, and your next place needs to be to share it on a podcast, you need to just launch it. And I truly hoped that this episode helped you get all the information that you've been like constantly like YouTubing and Googling and TikToking and trying to search for. And if there's something I missed out on other than the visuals of the production aspect, please reach out. Or better yet, you can go to kellyannecares.com, go to the search bar on the top right, you'll see like the little bubble, and type in podcasting. You'll see all my other episodes where I probably don't talk this fast. all about podcasting, how to market, how to monetize. I go in depth about that, how to launch, produce, like so many other versions of this fully jam-packed episode there. So again, I'm an open book. Come hang out with me on Threads. I'm spending a lot of time over there as well as my reels. I think that's it. Done. I'm done. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my frankincense resin from Dubai water. I'm going to explain this to you on the next episode. And then also, one last thing, I promise. So the next episode is going to be like wellness, mental health, like I just said, like everything I'm going through, my weight loss, like cortisol and thyroid and all this bullshit testing I had to go through. Again, always keeping it real with you. My thyroid has been out of whack like for the last year. Absolute hell, I can tell you that. After that, in August, is finally, see, who needs to add in these audio clips when you can just fucking do it yourself? My 7-part business series. It's finally coming. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's coming out as a whole series at once, so you can binge it like your favorite little show on Netflix, which, by the way, I binged Owning Manhattan the day it came out. It's so fucking good. That's it. If you say 500 times in your podcast episodes like I do and don't want to edit it out, that's also fine too. Okay, adios. Hope this episode helped. Let me know what you thought about it online. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at Kellyanne Gorman Official. Thanks for tuning in to the Kellyanne Cares podcast. I would love your thoughts on today's episode. Head to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app to rate and review. And don't forget to subscribe so you get notified as soon as a brand new show is live. For more information on myself, the podcast, my book, programs, and brand, visit KellyanneCares.com. While you're there, be sure to grab your free 10-step productivity and goal achieving guide, join the podcast community, and check out the brands I'm currently loving. Let's continue today's conversation. You can connect with me over on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Kellyanne Gorman Official. All my other social handles will be available for you in the show notes. We're switching things up this season, and I'm so excited. Head to Spotify right now and check out the latest poll and Q&A. If you have a product, brand, story, or service you would like to share on the show, send me a message on KellyanneCares.com today. As always, thank you so much for listening, sharing, and reviewing. It truly means the world to me. Talk soon.